When remaking Until Dawn, Ballistic Moon left a lot of things unchanged. There are some new areas, a few new interactables. I'm definitely curious to find out if this means someone's working on a PSVR 2 or PC version of Rush of Blood, because that's something we desperately need in our lives. But by and large, they kept the same costumes, props, and environments from the original game. There is one notable exception to this, however, and I want to point it out because I can't figure out if it was intentional or just a mistake that winds up massively changing how we view a character. This is the scene in question. Mike and Chris are taking Josh out to the shed. Feel like they could have just locked him up in one of the bedrooms, or they all could have just left on the gondola, but whatever. They're taking him out to the shed. Josh claims that he didn't hurt Jessica, or at least doesn't remember doing so. Mike gets angry and sticks a gun in his face, finger on the trigger. Chris, worried that someone is going to get shot, can either knock the gun out of Mike's hand or smack Josh in the face. Here's Josh getting hit in the face.
Son of a bitch!
Either way, Mike treats Chris like he's massively overreacting and sends him back down to the lodge, while Mike remains with Josh. Again, if you were just going to hang out with him, could this not be happening in a bedroom? So let's break down the scene. Was Chris right to intervene, or was he overreacting and should feel like he took things too far? The answer, as far as I'm concerned, is yes, he probably shouldn't have hit either of them. But at the time, emotions were so heightened that he didn't notice one key element of the situation. Josh's life is not in danger in this scene. The gun Mike is holding is the one from the saw trap. It was originally loaded with blanks, and now there's nothing in it at all, as we can see here.
Oh, get away!
So when Mike treats Chris like he's overreacting, it's warranted, because there was never actually any danger in the scene. And while Mike brought the gun to threaten Josh with, he never had any real intention of hurting anyone, or even allowing for the possibility of that to happen. Now, let's look at this same scene in the 2024 version of Little Hope. As you can see, it's the same animations, the same dialogue, only one change has been made. That's a different gun. The blank firing semi-auto is nowhere to be seen. Mike is holding Jack's pistol, the same one that he used to blow the locks off of doors and can use to kill Emily just a little while later. We get nice close-ups of the gun's cylinder, confirming that it is, in fact, loaded, meaning that when he sticks the gun in Josh's face, he's just a slight twitch of the figure away from killing Josh. This is no longer just a threat. Whether he has any intention of hurting Josh or not, he's sticking a loaded gun into someone's face. And again, finger on the trigger. This is dangerously reckless behavior. So when Chris steps in, either hitting the gun or hitting Josh, he's absolutely right to do so, as he's intervening in a situation that could have easily escalated to criminally negligent homicide. Swapping out this one prop completely changes the scene. Chris has gone from a guy who got caught up in the emotions of the moment to someone who has made the completely rational decision to intervene and prevent a tragedy, while Mike goes from a guy who was just performing a threat to try and scare Josh as a punishment for what he'd done to someone legitimately threatening Josh's life. Not just that, but Mike's reaction to having the gun knocked away, or Chris hitting Josh, is still to act like Chris was way out of line, suggesting that what he was doing is no big deal, which made sense in the original because it wasn't an actual threat. Now he's positing that sticking a loaded gun into the face of someone that you've tied up isn't anything to be worried or upset about. Mike winds up looking like a much more callous and reckless character here, in a way that doesn't completely jibe with his presentation in the rest of the game. Yeah, he's upset about Jessica, but this is still one of the darkest moments that we get from him, which brings us to the big question. Was this an intentional change? Did Ballistic Moon make the decision to make Mike more reckless and cold? Or was it a case of someone clicking on the wrong gun asset when assembling the scene in Unreal Engine 5? Or was the mistake made way back in the original release of Until Dawn, and Mike was always supposed to have this violently reckless edge? Sadly, there's no way for us to know, unless we get some background information about the scene. Or if they put out a patch that swaps the guns, that would probably let us know as well. Hopefully that happens and we get some confirmation on this. But until then, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more of those buttons coming up to help with that, questions, comments, suggestions for topics to cover, go in the comment section below the video. Play my game, Clown in the Woods, over at itch.io, where it's free. And of course, as always, Sony, if you need someone to consult on Until Dawn 2, which I think we're pretty sure is happening now, right? Drop me a line. I'm not hard to find. We'll see you back here for more Until Dawn, but until then I'll say that's right. Au revoir.